Sheikh Hamden tops the richest list. You know what they say about power, how it weighs more than gold, how it isolates you even when the world applauds. Today they say my name sits at the top, number one, untouchable. But I'm not talking to the world right now, I'm talking to you. You're not here, not standing in front of me, yet every thought I own walks straight toward you. Wealth doesn't make my voice stronger when I speak your name in my head. It only makes the silence louder when you don't answer. I rule rooms without trying, you know that. People lower their eyes, measure their words, wait for my nod. But with you, I never needed dominance. I never needed the throne. I just needed you to listen the way you always did. Like you saw through the title, through the suits, through the guards. I speak to you now the same way, not as a ruler, not as a headline, but as a man who chose you long before the world chose me. They think darkness means cruelty. They're wrong. Darkness is restraint. Darkness is knowing I could have anything and still wanting only you. I don't chase love loudly. I claim it quietly. When I say you're mine, it isn't weakness, it's intention. Even now when you're nowhere near me, I talk to you because some bonds don't require presence, they require truth. I've been accused of control, of intensity, of wanting too much. Maybe I do. I want loyalty that doesn't flinch. I want trust that doesn't ask questions. I want you to understand that when I watch the world burn itself for status, I step back and think of you, not because you calm me, but because you sharpen me. You remind me who I am when the crown gets heavy. You don't see the nights when the city sleeps and I don't. When success feels hollow and victory feels repetitive, that's when I talk to you the most. I don't need answers. I don't need reassurance. I just need you to hear me, wherever you are, the way you always did, without fear, without judgment. So let them celebrate the ranking. Let them repeat my name like it's a trophy. You know the truth. You know that at the top the view is cold, and the only warmth I recognize is the one I imagine when I speak to you like this. I don't belong to the list. I don't belong to the crown. In the quiet, in the dark, in my own words, I belong to you. I speak to you when everything finally goes quiet, when the walls stop echoing my name and the guards fade into shadows. You're not here, yet you're closer than anyone who stands beside me. I don't imagine your face to soften myself. I imagine it to stay sharp. You remind me that even with everything under my control, there is still one truth I never tried to own by force. I chose you, and choice is stronger than power. You would laugh if you saw how the world performs around me. Every smile is rehearsed, every loyalty negotiated. But when I talk to you, there is no performance. I don't measure my words. I don't protect my tone. I let it be dark, honest, unpolished. I tell you things I would never say aloud because you never mistook intensity for danger. You understood that some men don't raise their voices, they deepen them. There are moments when I think about distance, about how far you are from my reach, and I don't feel frustration, I feel certainty. Distance has never weakened what I feel, it has refined it. I don't need to see you to claim you. I don't need proof. I carry you in my decisions, in the way I pause before choosing violence, in the way I sometimes choose it anyway. You know this side of me. You never asked me to be gentle, only to be real. I have built an empire on discipline, on knowing when to hold back and when to strike. Love, for me, works the same way. I don't beg, I don't chase. I wait and I watch and I speak when it matters. Right now, it matters. So I tell you this, if the world ever turns against you, it won't reach you before I do. Not because I'm loud, but because I'm inevitable. You once told me silence can be louder than promises. That stayed with me. That's why I don't promise you forever in pretty words. I give you something heavier, consistency. Even now, when you can't hear my voice, I'm speaking to you. Even now, when you're absent, you're involved. That's how I love, without asking permission, without needing witnesses. Sometimes I wonder if you feel it, the way my attention settles on you even when I'm surrounded. It's not obsession, it's alignment. You and I exist on the same frequency even when the world tries to pull us apart. I don't romanticize chaos, but I understand it. And if loving me ever feels like standing too close to the fire, remember this: I control the flames. So hear me wherever you are. I don't need you to respond. I don't need you to come closer. Just know that while titles change, rankings fade, and crowds move on, my words remain with you. I speak to you because you are constant. And in a life ruled by power, constancy is the rarest form of loyalty. I don't need confirmation from you to keep speaking. I talk because silence between us was never emptiness, it was tension, controlled and deliberate even now. I measure my thoughts the way I measure risks, and every calculation leads back to you. You exist in the margins of my life where truth lives, far from the ceremonies and applause. When I say your name in my mind, it doesn't echo, it settles. You would understand why I never explain myself to the world. Explanation is for those who doubt their position. I don't doubt mine with you. I know exactly where I stand, even if you're not standing with me. I don't ask where you are or who surrounds you. Possession for me is not surveillance, it's certainty. I don't need to watch you to know you're already part of me. There is a side of me they never meet, the part that lowers its guard only in thought. That part speaks to you now. It admits that control is exhausting, that power is loud even when I'm quiet. But when I address you like this, something steadies. You don't weaken me, you give my restraint meaning. Without you, I would be sharper, but emptier. I don't believe in soft love. I believe in deliberate attachment, in choosing someone again and again, even when distance interferes. If this sounds dangerous, it's because depth always is. I don't touch what I can't protect, and I don't protect what I don't value. You sit in that narrow space where my instincts and my discipline agree. There are nights when I imagine you hearing me, not with surprise, but with recognition, like you expected this tone, this weight in my words. You always did. You never mistook my silence for indifference or my intensity for threat. That's why I speak to you this way, because you never asked me to dilute myself to be loved. I don't promise peace. I promise presence, even from afar. I promise that when the world becomes too much, my attention will still find you. Not loudly, not publicly, quietly, the way things that matter most survive. If danger ever circles you, it won't announce itself. Neither will I until it's over. So listen without listening. Hear this without sound. I'm not calling you back, and I'm not pushing you away. I'm simply stating a fact the way I state all truths in my life. You are part of my gravity, and no matter how high I stand, gravity never lets me forget what pulls me home. I don't reach out to you because I'm lonely. I reach out because connection doesn't require permission. You exist in the part of my mind where decisions are born, before words are filtered and before strategy is dressed as diplomacy. When I think of you, I'm not escaping responsibility, I'm grounding it. You remind me that authority without intention is just noise, and I refuse to be noise. You may think absence gives you distance from me. It doesn't. Absence gives clarity. I hear myself better when you're not interrupting the room with your presence, when I can speak to you without performance or restraint. This is where truth lives, between intention and silence. I don't need your reactions to know you understand. Understanding was never loud between us. There are people who believe power changes a man. They don't realize power only exposes what was already there. With you, I was always exact, always deliberate. I didn't soften my edges, I aligned them. I don't want to be misunderstood as gentle. I want to be known as precise. You knew the difference, And that's why your absence still feels like company. I don't confuse attachment with dependence. I don't need you to function, but I choose you to matter. That distinction defines everything. When I say you belong with me, it's not ownership, it's recognition. Some connections don't ask to be named, they insist. You and I were never a question. We were a conclusion reached early and revisited often. If you could hear the way the world bargains with me, you'd understand why I speak to you like this. Everything has a price to them. Loyalty, silence, time. You were never a transaction. You were alignment. And alignment doesn't break under pressure. It tightens. That's why even now, when I address you alone, I don't negotiate my tone, I state it. I won't pretend this is light. It isn't meant to be. What I feel doesn't float, it anchors. It doesn't soothe, it steadies. If you ever wondered why my presence felt heavy, it's because I don't love halfway. I don't touch what I can't stand behind. And I don't speak like this, unless I mean every word long after it's said. So wherever you are, keep your distance if you must. I'm not chasing steps or shadows. I'm speaking truth into the quiet, and quiet has always listened. Remember this without replying, carry it without explaining. I don't fade from what I choose. And I chose you, not loudly, not publicly, but with the kind of certainty that doesn't need witnesses. I don't measure time the way others do anymore. Days blur when everything is managed, predicted, controlled. But when I speak to you like this, time slows into something deliberate. Each thought is placed, not rushed. You exist in the pauses between my decisions, the moments where I choose restraint over impulse. That's where you've always lived, with intention, not accident. You might think I've forgotten what vulnerability feels like. I haven't. I simply don't display it where it can be used against me. With you, it was never exposure. It was precision. I let you see exactly what I wanted you to see, and that honesty was sharper than confession. Even now, when you're not here, I don't soften my words. I trust you to carry their weight without breaking them. I've been surrounded by people who swear allegiance, but allegiance is easy when it's rewarded. You never asked for reward. You never asked for protection as if you were fragile. That's why I speak to you as an equal, even in absence. You never stood beneath me. You stood within my line of sight, unflinching, and that mattered more than loyalty sworn aloud. There are nights when the city lights look like a crown made of fire, and I wonder if you'd recognize me now. Then I realize you always did. You saw the man who doesn't need applause to exist, the one who understands that dominance is quiet when it's real. If you were listening now, you wouldn't be surprised by my tone. You'd recognize it as consistency. I don't romanticize distance, but I respect it. Distance reveals who remains when convenience disappears. You remained without effort, without presence. That's rare. That's dangerous in the right way. I don't reach for what's easy. I reach for what endures, and what endures doesn't demand proof every moment. It holds its shape in silence. If I sound certain, it's because uncertainty wastes energy. I've never wasted energy on you. Every thought has been deliberate, every word weighed before being released into the quiet. I don't ask where this leads, because I already know what it is. It's not a destination, it's a constant. And constants don't need direction, they define it. So keep listening without answering. Let my words settle where they belong. I'm not asking you to come closer or step away. I'm stating what remains true, regardless of movement. I speak to you because you are chosen, not claimed. And in a life built on control, choosing is the only act that's ever been entirely